So you're asking yourself, why would a tutor come and work for me when they could poach my own student and go work for themselves, have their own tutoring business and get the full hours worth of pay for themselves rather than letting me take a portion of it? And I only really came to understand why tutors would want to work for me as a tutoring business owner after having hired 100 tutors in my lifetime in Lisa Study Guides. So in today's video, I'm going to talk you through the different reasons why a tutor would want to work for you and the systems that you'll need to implement in your business so that they continue to love working for you for years to come. If you don't know me, I'm Lisa. I am a tutor coach. I owned Lisa Study Guides, a private tutoring company, which had generated over $2 million in sales. And today, what I do is I help teach those who are on their path of growing your own tutoring businesses. I sold my business last year. And so now I'm here to share my journey, my path, so that you don't have to make the same mistakes I did. And I work with a select number of Tutor Boss clients to help you scale your business, build the dream that you want, and find freedom for yourself. Now, I've got a lot more coming up over the next couple of months talking about building a tutoring team. So if you're interested, then I'd love for you to subscribe to this channel. So to really understand why a tutor would want to work with you, we need to understand the mindset of a tutor. And the most interesting distinction that we need to make is your mindset versus the mindset of them. So you are an entrepreneur. You've gotten to where you are right now because you're in need of hiring tutors, and you have the tenacity, you have the drive to get out there, to do the marketing, to do the sales, and to actually do the delivery of the service itself. Compare that to tutors who come to work with you. Majority of them who actually want work at a tutoring business actually don't want to deal with the marketing. They don't want to deal with the sales. They actually just want to be given students and to focus on the one thing that they're actually interested in doing, and that is teaching. When we have fears like, oh, what if the tutor steals my student? Why would they even come work for me when they could work for themselves? That's because we're operating from our own mindset of how we would do things. I mean, you're the one who's gone out there and built your own tutoring business, right? You're not the one who's out there working for somebody else. And so the sooner you make that segregation between your mindset and your tutor's mindset, the more you're able to actually invest in building a business that is really catered to how they see the world. And then if you build a business that is catered to how they see the world, then you're going to have tutors that are going to stick with you long term. So the next question is, how do they see the world? Well, if you're somebody who is applying for a job at a tutoring business, what are the things that you're looking for? They're looking for a good income, so you're looking to give them fair pay. They're after consistency of income, so what that means for you as a tutoring business owner is you want to give them students that are going to be consistent with them, let's say week after week. They want to feel like they can make an impact and that they feel fulfilled in their work. And so what that means is you give them students that are aligned with them and are a good fit for them. And they also probably want to feel supported. And so think about the ways you would help them feel supported at your business. You would give them resources. Maybe you'd jump into one-on-one calls with them. And so from simply shifting from that mindset of why would they want to work for me, which is a more scarcity mindset, you want to think abundantly of, okay, what are the reasons on why a tutor would actually want to work with me? Well, they're not me. They're not the ones doing the marketing. A lot of them don't want to be marketing. That's not their skill set. A lot of them don't want to be jumping into phone calls. And a lot of them don't want to be the ones that are chasing up payments, that are doing the administrative work. They just want to do the teaching. And that actually helps to alleviate a lot of that fear from our own mindset. And once we can move past that fear, then we're truly able to focus on how we can build a team and a business that's going to have tutors that absolutely love working for us. Now, I want to dive a little bit deeper into giving your tutors consistent students. So it is your responsibility as a tutoring business owner to, one, give your tutors students to begin with, but to also make sure that those students continue to go back to the tutor consistently. Not only is this good for your bottom line as a business, because we want to make sure we don't just go yo-yo in terms of business revenue, but things are consistent. And the only way for us to have consistency in business is if we have monthly repeated revenue. And the only way to get recurring revenue is to make sure that our students keep consistently coming back to us. Now, most of the responsibility is on you as the owner to make sure you set the precedent and the expectation that these students are going to be consistent. So from your marketing through to your sales, through to your onboarding, onboarding of your students, you need to make sure that you're always communicating with these students and parents that what you do at this business is all about consistency. It's all about having consistent weekly lessons. That's what we did at my business, in order for your students to see the growth and the dream results that they want. Now, on the flip side to that, you also want to make sure that you educate your tutors on how to encourage their students to be consistent as well. So everybody has a part to play in this. You have a part to play in that you need to do your marketing and sales and onboarding in an efficient way. You need to make sure that your parents and students agree and that they're on board with the consistent lessons. And then you need to make sure that your tutors advocate for the consistent students, advocate for the consistent lessons, but also when things start to slip, so if students start to reschedule, if they start to cancel, then your tutors will be on top of it to make sure that those parents and students don't keep slipping. Because it's much easier to catch a problem when it's still small than letting it drag on for weeks, for months on end, and letting it fester into a bigger problem. A bigger problem is always going to be harder to fix. So the tutors need to be trained in how to set expectations for weekly lessons, so understanding how to communicate the benefits to a student, but also understanding for themselves why consistency is important, because they need to actually buy into it for them to advocate for it. And then actually coaching your tutors on how to talk to a student or parent if the student or parent doesn't want to have consistent lessons. And then on top of that, you want to make sure that you have a follow-up process for your tutors. So if their student starts being inconsistent, what are the steps they need to take in order to lift up that consistency again and get us back to baseline? Now, I know a lot of you thinking, this sounds good, let me implement it in my business, but where do I start? And I want to let you know that I've actually done all the hard work for you. I mean, I built up Lisa's study guides, and so I want to give you a free gift. I've included my Tutor Training SOPs. I've included the ones on how to set expectations with weekly lessons, what to do if your student doesn't want weekly lessons, the follow-up process when your student is inconsistent, and I've also added how to deal with cancellations as well. So this is the actual document that I wrote up, refined, and actually gave to my tutors. Feel free to download it, and I hope that it saves you hours that you could have been spending writing up this document and actually instead implementing it with your tutors as soon as possible. Another responsibility you have is offering your tutors attractive pay. So when we talk about pay, we are looking at, okay, what is a tutor willing to work for? But also, what is a fair amount to give them based on their experience and their credentials? Now, this is one of the top questions I always get from anybody who is ready to hire for their team. They always ask me, Lisa, how much do I pay my tutors? And to give you a rule, I would say at minimum, you want to give them no more than 50% of your takings. So for example, if you are earning $100 per hour for a tutoring lesson, that's how much you charge your parent or student, then at maximum, you want to give your tutor $50 of that hour. Now, the reason why I abide this rule is for many different reasons. The first reason being that your expenses are going to grow, especially as you have a team. You're going to need to train your tutors, onboard your tutors, and as you increase in your admin, you're going to need to hire an assistant, you need to get software, and those expenses will only continue to grow as your business grows. Beyond that, you're also probably starting to pay tax as well to the government, which could be 10, 20% of your takings. And so when you actually count down your expenses, you realize that you're not actually taking the full cut of that $50. So giving your tutors $50, you take $50, you're getting only a portion of that. Now, what you'll find challenging is communicating that with your tutors, because from the tutor's perspective, they say that a lesson is being charged $100, but they only see that $50 is going to them. And so they think that $50 goes completely to you and your pocket, which we know as business owners that is not the case. So the way I navigated this was I was honestly very upfront, and you'll know this from all of my videos that I'm very, very big on being open and honest with my team because I believe that in being honest and open, you're able to build better connections and a better community within your business. And so in my onboarding for my tutors, I actually tell them where that money goes. So I tell them how much we charge. I tell them, okay, this is your pay, this is your portion. Now, what actually happens to the remaining portion? And I actually found that tutors were really receptive to the transparency that I offered them. And once they actually started to realize that, oh, actually, a bit of the money goes into the resources that we provide you. A bit of the resources goes into the fact that we do admin, like chasing up payments, making sure that you get paid. Like you don't need to do any of that work. A bit of that money goes into the marketing. You don't need to do any of that work. Having them understand your perspective and understanding how the business works actually is one way that I found tutors ended up really loving working for us because they understood where that money was going and they didn't feel that resentment of, oh, you're just taking that full 50% cut. And just as a value, I feel that the tutors really appreciated the fact that I was open to them and was willing to share these numbers with them. So something to think for your own business as well. Now, I may just add, you don't have to stick to this rule. I mean, you're more than welcome to pay your tutors however much you want. The reason why I stick with 50% goes to the tutor, 50% goes to you, is that eventually as your business grows, as mine did to the multiple upper six figures, you're going to continue increasing in your expenses and it's only going to get harder down the track and your profit margin will reduce as you actually get bigger. So you want to start off on a strong foot where you've got the capability to grow, where your expenses grows, but you don't find that it's cutting too much into your profit margin, which ultimately we're building this business because yes, we want to have an amazing business and we want to treat our tutors fairly. We want to give them good pay, but we also want to make sure that ultimately you get paid as well. And speaking about attractive pay, let's also talk about growth opportunities in your business, which will help tutors love working for you. So when a tutor starts working at your business, you need to see it as their growth plan. We want to help our tutors grow over time. We want to give them motivation to succeed. We want to give them a reason to excel in their work. And so one way to do that is to make sure that we actually give them rewards for doing a good job. So we want to implement pay increases over time. So as they grow in their experience and as they perform exceptionally well, we actually have room to increase their pay. So for example, from $40 to $42.50 to $45, $47.50, $50. Now, this is one way you can provide growth opportunities at your business, but an alternative way for you to actually provide growth opportunities is to give them options on how they can grow their role in your business. So for example, we had a tutor who'd been with us since the very beginning. I think she was like my 5th tutor hire or maybe my 6th tutor hire. Nah, she was my 5th actually. And so she did such an exceptional job. She had always taken on board a lot of students comparatively to other tutors. She was always really consistent. She got her students amazing results and she wanted to stick around. She wanted to work at the company and do more. And so what I said to her was, would you like to be our head tutor? Would you like to be our mentor? Mentor the other tutors and teach them your ways. And so what we did was we got her into that role. We got her to step out. So not only was she doing tutoring, but she was also our tutor mentor. And that was one way I was able to really nurture her and help her grow as not just a tutor, but as a leader and as a human being as well. So you want to get into the frame of mind of a tutor who is bright-eyed, they've just started working at your company. What are the things that they would want potentially from your company? If tutors see that there's lots of opportunity for them to not only grow in pay, but also grow in other elements of the business and contribute in other ways, then of course they're going to feel motivated and feel like they're a part of a community and that they love working for you. Now, the next way for you to build a business so that your tutors love working for you is for you to have clarity in your operations. Nobody likes working in a business that is falling apart, it's really messy, and that there's no consistency or clarity in your processes or your systems. As humans, we like certainty, and so you want to give your tutors certainty as well. Who's ever had a job where the pay's a little bit dodgy or you don't know when you're next going to get paid or the business owner is just it's just not quite right when it comes to paying you what you've actually earned. I've definitely had that experience before. So I used to work at a candle shop, and they would sometimes pay me in cash, but sometimes they would pay me as a check. And so I was like, what's going on? And then I think I realized down the track that they were actually trying to evade tax. And so anyways, it just felt a bit inconsistent, and I just felt like I wasn't really sure what was going on. Now, that's not even a horror story, really. I know I've heard of many other stories from other people where they just haven't gotten paid, or they got paid less than what they were actually told they would be paying, and the nightmare just goes on. So, the story here for you is, how do we do things well? How do we do things consistently with clarity so that it's a repeatable process that tutors can understand and they can fall into the routine of? So a good example is, for us in our business, we paid our tutors every 2 weeks. That was the cadence, and we never, ever, ever defaulted on that. And within that system, there was clarity in the rules. So every single week you fill in this spreadsheet, you go and send it to this person, you go and send it within this time and within this time frame to ensure that you actually get paid on time. You will get your pay on this date. You will get notification that you've been paid on this date. And so when you set up this repeatable process, not only does it look professional for you as a business, which is what we want, but it's also that certainty that your tutors are really going to appreciate. And when they appreciate that, they love working with your company even more. And so that leads me into building a business where tutors love to work for you by leveraging SOPs, standard operating procedures. So wherever you can from now on, if there's something that you can write down and document, then write down and systemize that process and teach your tutors. So for example, an SOP on cancellations. Under these circumstances, we as a business are okay with the student cancelling. However, under these circumstances, we are not okay with a student cancelling, and this is what you do as a result. And here's how you actually enforce our cancellation policy. So I documented this for our tutors and gave it to them and made sure I followed up that they were actually executing on the policy, because there's no point in you documenting it if nobody actually follows through with it. So make sure that you actually touch base with your tutors to see how they're going with the systems that you've built in your business, so that you know that your systems are actually working efficiently and effectively for your business. And this is a reminder, if you haven't already, I'd love for you to download this free gift that I've got for you. It's my Tutor Training SOPs, including the cancellations, what I just talked about then, what's okay, what's not okay, how to enforce our cancellation policy. You can tweak it to your specific business. You can copy and paste it for your business exactly as is as well. I don't mind. I built this for Lisa Study Guides, and we refined it over time to make it as effective as possible. So that means that you don't have to start completely from scratch. You can start with somebody who has over 10 years of experience building this business. Now, the next way tutors will love working for you at your business is to make sure that you really build a brand. So you want to start asking yourself questions like, what does my business stand for? What is our mission, our vision, and our values? And what do our customers love us for? And what do our tutors come to us for? And based on all of these different aspects, you start building a business that is a representation of what people love about your business. And the more you feed into that, the more you'll continue to attract people who align with your business and who want to work for you. So for example, I knew that some of my tutors actually referred their friends to come work with Lisa Study Guides because they felt like they were being truly supported and they really loved the environment that we had created in the business. So not only could they lean on me, but we created a system where they could lean on other tutors and build a community as a result. And these tutors were really attracted to that sense of community because my tutors, a lot of them were going through university, making a lot of new friends, and a lot of the tutors would go to similar universities but study different subjects or different year levels. But that was their way that they could, build connection and make new friends that they could then actually meet up with at uni and then meet even more new friends through their tutor friend. So think about the different levers in your business you can pull so that you can really build a business where people are going to really truly want to work with you. Now, the next reason why people would love to work for you, it's you as the leader. So once you start building a team, you're going to need to step into the role of being a leader. And being a leader and the definition of a leader looks different to everyone. For me, my way of leadership is building connection with my team members. That's personally really important with me. Actually knowing them, actually understanding what their motivations are, understanding what they're going through in their personal lives. But it's also admitting my own flaws, being human first, and recognizing that I make mistakes and that I'm happy to actually share the mistakes that I make, because I don't want my team to see me as the person who has all the answers, especially when most of the time I do not have all the answers, and my team is going to see me stumble through, try things, experiment things, fail some things, have some things work. And so I want to take them on that journey, which is why I'm so big on being open with them, being direct with them with what's actually going on. I don't want to be that pinnacle of perfection, because that's just not how I am. By me really going on that journey of self-discovery of how I want to be as a leader and what feels good to me, I think that's truly what's been most sustainable for me and what has helped me attract people to work with me who I personally absolutely love working with. Even to today, I'm building Tutor Boss, my coaching business, and I love the team that I'm working with. And I think a lot of that comes down to having that clarity of, okay, as a leader, like this is how I want to be for my people, and being really intentional about it. The one thing I'll add here is that when I was younger, I could not understand why people would say like, oh, you're so inspiring, because I was like, I don't feel like I'm inspiring. And if this is you, by the way, I have come to understand what that actually means. And I think it's just you literally being you and you just doing your own thing. You building this business, you putting yourself out there, you doing your best you can. And I think if you operate from a place of earnestness and you try your best with your tutors and you're communicating with your tutors that you are doing your best by them, and that sometimes you do make mistakes, but you still keep trying, you get back up, then that's how you're truly going to build a business where tutors love, love, love working for you. Even for myself now, like I have tutors that I still follow. I'm following their lives. Some of them contact me every now and then, giving me updates. And it's just such a beautiful relationship that I know I'll always have with my tutors, and I'd really love that for you too. So I hope this video was helpful. I'd really love to know in the comment section below what you thought, what was like your biggest takeaway. And if you found this video helpful, then I'd love to invite you to another video I made called the #1 mindset shift that made my tutoring business 1 million, because it's all to do with you and your team. So thank you so much for watching, Tutor Bosses, and I can't wait to see you in the next video where I'll be talking about how I went from 10 plus tutoring hour days to only working 2 hours and making over $2 million in revenue. I can't wait to see you then. Bye.